Alright, at number 5, I'm going to go with Aeron Greyjoy, otherwise known as the Damphair. So Aeron is one of the Kraken brothers, so he's brother to Balon, Victarion, Euron, so basically he's Theon's uncle. Aeron's cool, one, because he's one of the drowned god priests, so you learn a little bit more about the drowned god and their whole religion. And also, in the books, he calls a king's moot, which is like a super old Greyjoy tradition, to decide a new king of the Iron Islands. Instead of them just picking Euron like they do in the book, there's this whole process where they all come and they, campaign for why they should be king. So it gives you a cool background and gives you a lot more information about the Greyjoys. Alright, at number 4, we've got a really interesting character, a red priest named Moqorro. Moqorro's really interesting because he shows up with a couple different characters. First, he shows up with Tyrion and Jorah on their boat to Meereen, or at least to that direction. And the boat wrecks and everything, but he says some really interesting stuff with some prophetic visions he has. So he's got a lot of interesting, symbolism around him there. And then after the shipwreck, he actually meets up with Victarion and his crew on the way to Meereen, and he ends up doing a bunch of sacrifice for Victarion to aid him in his journey. Because Victarion has the crazy horn that Euron gives him that's supposed to wake dragons, I think Moqorro's interested in that, and there's definitely going to be some interesting interactions with him and Meereen when he meets Daenerys and the dragons and all that. Alright, number 3, I'm going to give it to Alleras the Sphinx. Now, there's a lot more going on in the Citadel and in Old Town in the books than there is in the show, and a lot of it has to do with Alleras. A couple different reasons why it's interesting. One, Alleras' nickname is the Sphinx, because they're, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, they've got a lot of different ancestry. But there's a lot of references to sphinxes, and not to mention that even Maester Aemon says something about the Sphinx is the riddle, not the Riddler. A lot of references to sphinxes, and this is the only character that is ever referred to as the Sphinx, so that's interesting. Secondly, the predominant theory is that Alleras is actually Sarella Sand, who is one of the Sand Snakes that's disguised as an acolyte at the Citadel. For what reason? Everyone's got some theories, but either way, I think the Sphinx is going to have a lot to do with whatever weird stuff goes down in Old Town. Alright, at number 2, we've got everyone's favorite, Lady Stoneheart. Now, Lady Stoneheart, spoilers, is essentially the resurrected corpse of Catelyn Stark. After the Red Wedding, her body's dumped in the river in the Green Fork, and there's a couple different, explanations of how it was found. Some say Nymeria found the body, some say Beric Dondarrion found the body. Either way, Beric Dondarrion took the body and essentially gave it life. The life that he got from Thoros of Myr, the resurrection life that he had, he gave it to her. So then she wakes up and is like, hey, it's time to kill some Lannisters and Freys. So she takes control of at least part of the Brotherhood Without Banners, and they kind of patrol the Riverlands and the surrounding areas looking for Lannisters and Freys to kill. And then at number 1, we have everyone's favorite lad, young Griff, aka, kind of, Aegon Targaryen. Now, if you're wondering which Aegon he's supposed to be the son of Rhaegar and Elia Martell, the Aegon that was killed during the Sack of King's Landing by the Mountain.